The legislative branch now is almost entirely broken. It would be dishonest for me not to say that January 6th was a scary moment. Sure. My name is David Hawkings, and I am a journalist for my entire career. I grew up in New York City, and my parents were both news junkies, and my mother played the all news AM station in the kitchen all day long. Sort of taken with journalism from a pretty early age. Edited the high school paper, edited the college paper, tried to get a couple of internships along the way. And I moved from New York to San Antonio, which was in the early 1980s, a bit like becoming a foreign correspondent. San Antonio was about as different from New York as two U.S. cities could be. Met a woman on the East Coast who I ended up marrying, and was committed to working in the Northeast. And we actually chose Washington, D.C. as a neutral ground. I started out as a general assignment and night police, where you just sit in the police station and listen for the scanners and make phone calls to 90, no kidding, 90 different sheriff's offices and local police departments all over South Texas. Then I got promoted to the federal courts, which was a great feat to be on, because it was during the time when the first murder trial for the assassination of a federal judge since before the Civil War was going on. So that was a fun story. And then City Hall, at a time when a guy named Henry Cisneros was the mayor, who was at that point considered the most prominent Latino politician in the country. Was the runner-up, or maybe the second runner-up, to be Walter Mondale's running mate in 1984. Soon enough got a job for a big chain of tiny papers, all daily newspapers. These were daily newspapers in towns like Kokomo, Indiana, Easton, Pennsylvania. That was the biggest one. The one in Easton, Pennsylvania was just about the biggest paper in the chain. And I covered Congress for them. So if Easton, Pennsylvania wanted a story about what Arlen Specter or Harris Wofford was doing on a particular issue, then it would fall to me to figure that out and send them a little story. I felt like we really tangibly made a difference to actually hold public officials accountable in Washington, who are following these lawmakers around and trying to figure out what they're doing and why they're doing it, and who their funders are and who the special interests are that they're paying attention to. They can get away with a lot, and just having a boot on the ground to pay attention to them. Regional reporter, or the local reporter in Washington, hardly exists anymore. The Inquirer had somebody until about 6 months ago. He left. As a result, I think these guys can get away with a lot. On the other hand, it's a lot easier now for a motivated citizen to use the internet to figure out what's going on. The chunk of the career, which was almost 28 years, was at Congressional Quarterly and Roll Call, that did nothing but cover policy making in Congress and the politics of Congress. And I rose through the ranks there and started out as sort of a low-level editor, and then they kept giving me more and more interesting things to do. I got to cover Clinton impeachment and September 11th, and all those and all the stories that came after. But my sort of whole shtick as a Washington journalist was how to make the complex understandable and interesting to the lay reader without dumbing it down or getting it wrong. I'm pretty strong on CNN at the moment. The guy who's the anchor in the morning, Phil Mattingly, the guy who covers two of the three people who cover Congress for them these days, Melanie Zanona and Manu Raju, are both had worked for me. To me, it's the most important job of all, because it is where it is the branch of government that's by far the closest to the people. I was always, many people who cover Congress, they like covering the Senate because it's got this reputation, not so much deserved at the moment, but that's a different story, as the world's greatest deliberative body. But the Senate moves at a snail's pace, by and large. It's pretty darn scripted. The House, on the other hand, is this sort of roiling cauldron of interesting personalities. In today's world, as we're speaking today, they seem to many more annoying than interesting. But how these members get to Congress is fascinating. They're not all student council presidents who have wanted to be in Congress since they were middle schoolers. They feel more accountable. They're more likely to talk, and it's easier to make the connection between what they're doing and how the life of the reader / voter / future voter is going to be affected. Policies that Congress makes, and explaining that, trying to be early in explaining to people, explaining to your readers, this is what this means. This is what this would mean to you, to your tax bill, to your healthcare system, to your ability to watch cable TV. You're writing about policies that actually touch their lives. When I first came to Washington and started covering Congress, it worked more often than not. There was bipartisanship. There was a sense that at the end, a critical mass of people had to get to yes. Some compromise would happen. Some policy would get changed. The decline in functionality has been steady, and I would say that the legislative branch now is almost entirely broken. It'd be dishonest for me not to say that January 6th was a scary moment. To have reporters that worked for me who were in the Capitol, who were hiding their press badges for fear of their lives, hiding in closets. It was a very dispiriting time. So literally the next day, and my spouse was feeling similarly, that this place Washington had ceased to become a rewarding place professionally to live, and we decided we wanted to have a new adventure in a gentler place. And we had friends who lived in Chestnut Hill, and we'd been coming here for New Year's Eve and Christmas and just getaway weekends for a while. We loved the neighborhood. It seemed like just the gentler place that we were looking for. I love my dog. I love my road bike. I love a nice glass of wine, and I like to read. Everybody says you must want to read novels when you're, a journalist must want to read novels, and that's never been me. I don't like crossword puzzles. I don't like novels. I read nonfiction. I can't get in. I guess I'm really a reporter at heart. Body surf. That was yet another, practical reason why we ended up in Chestnut Hill. Decided to not have the big retirement house, but have a little bitty house at the shore. But it's now 80 minutes away instead of 4 hours, which means I can look at my Wave app in the morning on a summer morning and decide just to go over there and body surf some waves. Of course, every young reporter has gone to. That's one of the rites of passage when you're a reporter. At least in many cities, where the Rotary Club is the place where the movers and shakers would hang out. That's where the congressman would be speaking. So I've been to my fair share of Rotary Club meetings, even as not a member. Practically just around the corner from where we meet, and it seemed like an obvious way to sort of plug into my new neighborhood, meet interesting people, and give back. Now I'm freelancing. I feel at liberty to try and overtly contribute to the community. So this seems like it. And so what do I want to do? I'm wide open. I mean, I'll put on latex gloves and pick up bottles all day long. I like tutoring. Right after we get off the phone here, I'm going down to the Smith Playground to tutor a young man who's, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to plug in however the club needs me to plug in.